Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another wonderful episode of the Black Entrepreneurs Institute Live Show. We are back with another amazing show. I am one of the co founders, Dr. Nicole Rankin, and I'm here with the infamous Cedric LaFleur. How are you doing?
I am always doing great. How about yourself, Dr. Nick?
I am well. We're going to hold it down tonight in our absence of our other co founders, Angela Hooper Minifield and Damian Johnson. So, Cedric, I'm like bubbling over, right? So, I'm excited because my company is hosting a virtual leadership summit. And this is for millennials, for college students, for young adults, young professionals, no matter where they are in their journey. Because what we know that most young leaders don't really have the tools and strategies they need to advance in their personal and professional lives by themselves, right? And because of that, so many young people are just kind of wondrously, aimlessly in this world, frustrated, they're overwhelmed, their anxiety is through the roof, trying to find their purpose and try to find where they fit in this world. So, we came together. I have a team of young people that I'm working with, and we wanted to create something that will help these young leaders. So, we created this Adulting in My Purpose virtual summit 2-day event where attendees could learn some of the tools that they need to improve their current skills and really make real connections to help them get clarity to how to move to their next steps. And so we know that, as seasoned adults, adulting adulting can be frustrating and overwhelming, but it really doesn't have to be. So, this summit will help them learn to kind of find that balance between their personal and professional aspects of adulthood. And you are one of the amazing speakers that will be in the room this weekend and teaching our young people about an important aspect in an area where a lot of them struggle, which is budgeting and financing. So, from your experience, you also work with young people as well. What are some of the struggles that you see young people face as it relates to finances?
Yeah, I think that they find some of the same struggles that their parents find because young people. What do they do? The law of the mirror says people do what people see. So what do? They see their parents struggle with money, and by the way, 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, right? So they see the bad habits that their parents have with money, and it just really continues there. Now, so the struggles I see with young people is understanding how to save or invest their money.
Mhm.
Now they are asking questions on how and what to do with it, which is a great thing. But another struggle is with young people is not spending it all. Meaning, you get $20 in your hand and boom, 20 minutes later you done spun it all, right? So
Mhm.
that's another struggle. But again, that's a habit of not knowing what to do, right? Um, and however, one of the things that I like about young people is that they are using these robo investing apps
Mhm.
um, to learn now how to invest and to get started. It's a great place to start. And then as they continue to get older and decide to build wealth, then they can move over to investment houses and things like that. But I think another thing that I like about young people is that they are, as a whole, being more intentional about the investment part early on versus their parents because they believe that they don't want to work all their life and they
Mhm.
don't want to work for just any old company either. They want to work and have this good work life balance. So it's forcing them to learn more about how to be intentional with their money, which is a great thing. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to dive deep
Mhm.
into that on Saturday.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited, and I definitely want you all to be in the room so you can learn more about this amazing summit. Go ahead and register at adultinginmypurpose.com. You want to make sure young people, if you have a young person in your home, they need to be in the virtual room because we have so many dynamic speakers that are going to speak some great things into their life that's going to help them and give them the tools that they need. So I'm excited because not only do we have you as an amazing speaker, our guest today, we have two of our virtual speakers that will be coming in and pouring into our young people on this weekend at the Adulting in My Purpose Summit here today because not only are they dynamic speakers, they love to help other people and love our young people, but they are entrepreneurs. So it's a great thing just to come and hear their story. And I was reading a report recently that was published by Salesforce that was entitled How the Pandemic Inspired a New Generation of Entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
And so the study evaluated that people who started businesses within 2020 and early 2021. And I was really surprised by that because we know in tough times people have to shift and do different things. But it said that according to the Census Bureau, more than 4.4 million new businesses were
Wow.
created in the US alone during 2020, and that's the highest total record. And then for reference, they said that a half a million new businesses was started just this past January in
Wow.
2021.
Wow.
So just thinking of that, people are transitioning from, what they know to be that good, stable job, setting that 9 to 5, to finding their own niche in entrepreneurship. So, what do you think are some of the most important qualities for an entrepreneur in this environment of the pandemic?
Yeah, well, those are great stats. That just means people are now woke, right? And I don't want to wish the pandemic on anyone.
Yeah.
However, we needed something to wake people up because
Mhm.
too many people were in this troll mode where they were just going to work and go home, go to work and go home. Then they pay
Mhm.
bills and go to work. They pay bills and they go to work. That's it, right? So what I'm for entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs during this pandemic, one, they need to be resilient. They need to understand how to bounce back. You see, there are a lot of people that made a lot of money during this pandemic,
Mhm.
and you're looking at one of them. The stock market was great during the
Love it.
pandemic. So we can say all we want about the pandemic, right? I'm not at all upset about what happened on the stock market during this pandemic. So you have to understand that you have to be resilient and bounce back.
Mhm.
Right. The next thing is you have to have a positive mental attitude. Napoleon Hill talks about this particular attitude, and this positive mental attitude is what's going to get you through anything. Right. You can look at what happened and say, "Woe is me," or you can wake up and say, "Woe is me.
Mhm.
It's time to start my business." Right. And it seems like some people, at least 4 million of them, said, "Whoa is me.
Yeah.
It's time to start my business." So, which is a great thing. The next thing is you have to have a leader mentality. And a leader mentality means I'm starting something, I'm doing something. I'm not saying I can't, I'm saying I did it. I'm not saying I'm going to fail. I'm saying I've already been successful. I'm not saying they're not going to like it. I'm saying they're going to love it. They're going to come to buy my stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And then the fourth thing and the final thing is you have to have influence.
Mhm.
Right. And we understand that leadership is influence, but you have to be able to influence people to one, buy your product and services, two, influence people in a way that you inspire them to do something else, right? You inspire them to rise up, bounce back, and all that type stuff. So those are the four things, right? Be resilient, positive mental attitude, leader mentality, and influence.
I love it. I love those characteristics. And that brings me to our two guests on today because they were in that position, and they decided to step out, and they became woke and decided that they wanted to do their own business and carve out something where they can they saw a problem that they wanted to solve, and they stepped out and started their own business. So I'm going to introduce first Miss Tonika Do Evans, and she has experience as a licensed professional counselor for over 20 years in the social service area. She's offering service through private and community agencies in the areas of individual and family therapy, advocacy, program development, and training. And she's really committed to working with individuals and families who are experiencing difficulties and challenges that results in life traditions. So counseling is a collaboration between client and therapist, and this is the where she thrives. You know, her goal as a therapist is to create an environment that encourage and promotes growth and change. And this environment is maintained in a space that is non-judgmental and grants the opportunity for healing and restoration, so where people can thrive. So I'm excited to have on our show today Miss Tonika Do Evans. Welcome.
Hi. It's good to be here. Good to
Well,
be
we're
here.
glad, so glad to have you.
Yes, well, anyone that has three names, we are excited to be around because we know that they have greatness around them.
That's right. You got to say it all. I love it.
I'll
And
remember that. I'll remember that.
I love it. And then not only so, we also not only have Tanika, we also have Miss Oloma Lola Otubaga, and she, you see, she's at work, right? Still working as an entrepreneur. She is a Georgia board certified psychiatric nurse practitioner, you know, and she is qualified to diagnose, treat, and prescribe prescription medication to individuals throughout the lifespan. Her specialties include, but not limited to, ADHD, depression, substance abuse, anxiety, bipolar, and schizophrenia. And her passion really is about providing quality, compassionate, and comprehensive mental health services to her client. She provides care in her own private practice called Mindset Healthcare, where clients receive medication management. And not only that, she is founder of Fit for Life, which is a nonprofit organization that educates the Black and Brown community by increasing their awareness of emotional, behavioral, and psychosocial and spiritual self. So we got some dynamic, amazing people, entrepreneurs who in the healthcare industry. So I'm so excited. Thank you, Lola. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, let's get this started, and let's talk about both your careers. And I'll start with Tanika. Um, how did you get started, your career path, and where you are today?
Um, Started off going to college, this whole adulting in your purpose, not knowing what I was going to do. Um, Graduated from Tennessee State with a bachelor's in psychology, and came out of school immediately working in the social service arena with substance abuse. And I guess cut my teeth there and learning that there were so many components to the field. And after I left working in substance abuse, I began working here in Georgia, moved to Georgia in 1998 and started working with foster care youth, and really began a path of working in administrative roles within programs, doing program development and things of that nature. Married, had children, and then returned back to school and received a master's in clinical mental health counseling. And going into that program, knowing that I wanted to have my own practice, that was the goal and the objective. Didn't know when I was going to do that. As I stated as well, I was a mother of three and married and doing in the non-traditional student, and eventually branched out from my work again as an administrator, and decided let me cut my teeth in another way, and decided to be this business owner, and found my way by speaking with persons who were already doing it and asking them what were the pros and cons, and then ultimately believing that I could actually do this and do this work. I do believe that what I'm operating in as a clinical mental health therapist is my purpose.
Wow. Well, when you know your purpose, then you know what? Nothing can stop you. And that means you're going to have this passionate drive, which is just phenomenal. So, Miss Lola, help explain to our audience, what was the catalyst that moved you to start your own business?
So I was working at a hospital here in Atlanta, and basically they decided that my position was no longer needed.
Mm.
You know how corporations are. Let's look at ways to save some money. And since my position was not a position of me actually, I was just doing calls, right? I was
Mhm.
just, so they would just call me if somebody had a question. So they decided she's not coming into the hospital, she's not actively working, and we can use what she's doing and pass it to the other providers who actually come in the hospital. So when they let me go, they laid me off, and I laid towards my purpose.
Wow, it's amazing what happens when um, someone makes some action on you, right? It can either make you go down into a depression,
Mhm.
or it could activate you and say, no, 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 no. I
Right.
said in our preamble, whoa, I'm gonna do something, right? And that's what you said. Whoa, I'm gonna do something. So that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, you guys, as you were speaking, I know there are many people out there who are in the position that you were in, right? Whether they were in their 9 to 5 and wanting to do something, or have the circumstances where situations happen where either they got laid off, furlough, or situations didn't happen. And as you are making your transition, what was the most challenging aspect of the transition from coming out of the work industry where you are and then starting your own company?
Hmm. I don't know.
I'll pose that
Lola,
to Tanika.
you
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
go? Okay, me.
And then Lola,
I
yes.
guess the most challenging was that I started the practice while I was still employed,
Okay.
and when I became when I began doing this full time 2 years ago, similar to Lola, my services weren't needed, and I had to make the move into doing this full time. And I guess the biggest challenge in moving into it was believing that I could really do this and do it as well as I had imagined, and then putting it into practice, and just telling myself that I had to show up, that the thing that was given to me. I truly believe that this is a gift, and how I show up in the space for my clients. And I had to just trust that this gift was, that I was capable of delivering it, and sharing it, but believing in it. I think that was the most challenging. And then after getting over that, saying, okay, girl, what else do you have to do? What else is required? You have this gift, but what else is needed for you to actualize it, and so that it can be of good use. And so I think that was the biggest challenge, um, for me.
Lola, what about you?
So I, again, like I said, I was working in the hospitals, but because I am a nurse, so nurses don't have one job. So I had the hospital job. They let me go, but I still was working for three other agencies,
Hmm.
right? So when the hospital let me go, I said, okay, I'm about to venture out and do this entrepreneur. So the naive me quit my agencies, like, yeah, I'm about to come and do this business, I'm about to be open and flourish, and clients gonna be booming in and out. And then, so I actually, my doors opened in July. I didn't see my first I didn't see my first client until August the 13th, which is the day that
Wow.
I celebrate. But I only had one client the whole month of August. So I didn't see any, I wasn't working for July. I was coming here every day
Wow.
They coming, they coming. Nobody came. It came in here in August. September came because I had to ask my friends, to pay some bills because I used all my money to furnish the building. I was really naive and thought I'm about to start this and the clients are just going to be knocking at my door. It didn't happen like that. So it was challenging because I was like, I got to go back to work. And I'm like, I was like, I thought, so it's times was like, I can't survive because I'm paying the building. Of course they gave me a couple of months prior to starting. So I didn't have to pay rent here, but I still have a child. I have rent at the house. My child has needs, and I'm just sitting here coming to this office every day and I'm not producing anything. So it was points where I was like, I was about to quit. And then my friend came and he actually brought me The Alchemist. I read The Alchemist and I was like, oh, I got this. I was able to swallow my pride. I called those agencies back. I told them what was going on. I'm like, hey, I know I left because I started my business, but it's not doing what it needs to do. So I was able to come back to one agency and then I applied for another agency. So I did that for a year. Well, yeah, because COVID hit, right? Because I opened August of 2019. So I really didn't, I was just working. So I got two jobs and then I came and I was still doing this. I would do this on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I would work on one agency on Friday, the other one on Mondays and Wednesdays. And so I was making it work. And then COVID hit, towards the end. And I was like, oh, shoot, here we go again. And I'm like, so I went back to my RN because I went to New York to work. They were hiring NPs. So I went to New York to work. I said, well, I'm not seeing clients here. I might as well serve a purpose and help someone somewhere because my background is emergency room. Okay. So I went to New York, worked, was able to, get a little cushion. And then when I came back, it was like COVID was what was needed. And then all of a sudden, it's like my business just flourished. So I went from not having any clients coming back, and it was just like every day I was getting booked. And eventually I let one agency go, and then I was getting booked. And so I let the other agency go. So I ended up going full time in March. March of 20, yeah, COVID hit. So March of 2021, this year, I came back from New York, worked, and I let everybody go, and I'm full time for myself now. But it was challenging.
Awesome.
Sure. I bet that is challenging during that time. And both your stories, it's awesome to help entrepreneurs understand the roller coaster ride that you have, right? So I want to ask you both this question around this roller coaster ride. It's really getting a little bit deeper around that. So during the time where you're at the top of the hill, right? You start your business, you're excited, right? You're motivated. You're like, yeah, the world's coming. They want me, right? And then you have that time where it starts getting down into the valleys, right? When in that moment when you're in the valley, help our entrepreneurs understand the mindset that they need to have when that valley comes, because it's going to come to everybody, right? The mindset that you guys had during that time, so that you say, I'm gonna ride this out. And Lola, you want to go first, and then Tonika?
So like I said, I was about to quit. Right, because I was about to quit. And then like I said, my friend, he brought me The Alchemist. I read that and I resonated with it. And what I gathered from it, because you have to remember, I'm coming from, even though I was a 1099 client, I still was working for someone. So I'm coming from a mindset of, I had that hustle mentality but it was still a worker. So being able to flip the mindset and understand the challenges that come, because when I'm working for someone else, whether I see clients or not, they still got to pay me, right? They still got to pay me. But here in my own office, if I don't see clients, guess what? They still want their bills paid. Georgia Power doesn't care about that. The mortgage man didn't care about any of that.
That's right.
So just being able to say, I believe in myself and I know what I am producing is going to be fulfilled. It brings me a joy and fulfillment. And I know that what I'm doing is great. And I know that once I am heard of and they understand the service that I'm providing to them, then they will find me, right? And I knew I had to do the work. It was just at a point, like I said, switching from being a worker to actually being a boss or an entrepreneur. It's a different mindset, and being able to really grasp the concept of this is you. And if you don't believe in you, how is anyone else going to believe in you?
Right.
Absolutely.
So when I read that, and I was like, okay, this is the things you got to do. You're going to have to, that hustle that you got in you, you're going to have to go to other places, introduce yourself, let them know who you are, find some money so you can get into some marketing and let them know that, hey, you have a service, you know that it's needed, and just being able to, that it's that faith, right? Faith and fear don't coexist. So when it comes to entrepreneur, it's going to be some anxiety, and then you got people in your ear, right? All those naysayers,
Right.
and every day somebody's asking you, well, how's it going, and it's like, leave me alone.
Right.
You know, like, just leave me alone, like, you'll know. But it's just like, I know some people meant good, but some people were like, having their,
They're asking you how's it going, but they're going, I know it's going bad, so I'm gonna
Right.
You're being able to vet the people properly and make sure that the people that are inquiring are really concerned, or are they being nosy, right? So I got to a point where I was just like, I'll let you know how things are going. If you don't mind, when we speak, it's not about me. It's not about my business. Let's talk about other things. You know what I mean? And so I was able to switch that mode. And now, just being able to, when I talk to, I don't want to always be connected to work. So when I'm talking to you as my friend or as my mom or as my son, let's talk about life. Let's talk about, I just want to know that you support me, and that's it. I don't want to hear, because like my mom, oh my gosh, it was just like, I'm just praying for you because I know how hard it is. You don't want to hear that every day, especially when you don't have one client, and you're like, damn, is she right? You know what I mean? You start thinking like, is she right?
It'd be the ones closest to you. It'd be the ones closest.
So that doubt starts to seep in.
Yeah.
So just being able to disconnect and really focus on you, because people will project their fears on you. And if you allow, it will grow. And then you'll be like, well, if everybody's saying you're not going to make it, you're not going to make it. But it takes time.
Yeah.
And in this world of instant gratification, it's very difficult. It was very difficult, but I thank God I stayed here. I'm here, and I'm continuing to flourish. I don't call my business small. It's flourishing, and it will continue to flourish. But because small just puts me in a box. Ain't nothing small about what I'm doing. I'm doing big things over here.
That's right.
I love it.
I love it.
So, words are powerful. Just being able to, speak greatness into yourself. And that helped me.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Miss Tonika Evans.
That's right. You got to say all three. That's it.
Yeah, all three. Well, Lola touched on it as well with regard, I think, with faith. What if you draw into that, if there is a foundation for you there, I think that is a place definitely to go and visit and visit and visit. And the other would be reminding yourself of why you did what you did. That Lola touched on this a little bit too, believing in yourself. acknowledging that the idea that you had and that you pushed forward and you did everything that you had to do to get the space, to create the time, to advertise, to get the one client. I know about that. When I first opened my practice, working full time, I got to the office without any clients. I didn't have one client, not even a prospect. But I had said a prayer that if I find a building that's within this budget that I could afford from the money that I was making with my other job, then I would that I would open my practice. A friend called and said, hey, there's an empty office space over here. When are you getting this practice? And she said, and I already told the landlord you'd come and talk to them. And when I got there, it was less than what I had already said that I could afford. And so I signed the lease. After talking to my husband, I signed a 6-month lease with no client. And I too, like Lola, she got a client in a month. I didn't have a client until after the holidays. I signed the lease in November, and I didn't have a client until February. But I was okay because I was still working. So that was kind of one of those, I don't know what to do. But then after really going back into it and trying to build and wanting to make it big, and how you described it about Cedric being in that valley place, one of the things is about, I had to remind myself that this was a courageous and brave act. And the definition for courage is taking a known risk for a known purpose. And if I am moving into what is clearly supposed to be the space that I was made to occupy, then I have to remind myself that I am courageous. And so the continuation of doing that on those days when it wasn't going as well, when you weren't getting as many referrals, or you were still working, or in my case, working a full-time job that was not bringing you joy, but being at peace coming into this space, having to remind myself that I could do it. And going back to what was those challenges in the transition was believing in myself. Pouring into myself, and not only pouring into myself, but being honest and vulnerable enough to tell someone when I needed help, and putting my cup out, asking for something to be put into it. I think that's one of the things as well. Being your own boss requires that you allow yourself to commune with other folks. And too often we're seeing people create spaces where, especially in this helping field, you cannot do this alone. And so it is mandatory for you to say, I'm tired, and rest. And so I think in doing that as well, pausing long enough and to be a little reflective as to what is taking you into the valley. And are you in the valley because that's where you have to traverse on the journey? Or have you gone there because that somebody, like Lola said that that's probably where you should be? Sometimes you can climb a little higher and it may be a little rockier, but you don't have to rest in the valley. But there is also rest there as well. So it just depends. I think for me, I would just say to remind yourself you're courageous, be reflective and honest. Allow yourself to be vulnerable, because in the vulnerability, that's where power actually resides. Because if you can say you need help, you can get it. But if we're not acknowledging it, then it doesn't come.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's so much, you guys. Just an amazing journey so far, amazing story, and just a powerful testimony that you both have. And so many people are in your current place, and that you have been desiring to make that transition, wanting to step out, wanting, having a burning desire, passion to do their own thing, but they're stopped by fear, or whatever other people voices. So in thinking about how you all transition, and kind of looking back, what are some of the things that you can share with some of those people out there that are in your position, in how to prepare for the transition?
How to prepare for the transition. Again, going back to making sure that you've for me, I believe you should have asked yourself the questions, why are you moving now? And what is going to happen? maybe even creating your own elevator speech for yourself. Like, what's
Mhm.
going to be your 3-minute pep talk for you to say, this is what you're going to do. Having a plan. So you can have an idea of what you want to do, but you need to know the steps that are required. What's required to do what it is that you want to do. With me and Lola, even, in this mental health field, you have to have licenses to do that. You have to be state approved. It's not just, I want to go help people and you just open the doors, because that's illegal. So you want to make sure that what steps, what things are required to do the work that you need to do. Ask someone, become familiar with the profession by asking someone who's doing the work. And if you don't know anyone, joining professional organizations and finding that out, continuing to educate yourself about what it is that you want to do, budgeting, saving, acknowledging what you can afford, being realistic. And what I typically tell folks, this anxiety, we talk about this instant world, the anxiety levels are so high because people are believing that you should already know how to do something you've never done. So allowing yourself some grace,
Mhm. Yeah.
saying, okay, I've never done this before. So if I don't get it right, that's absolutely okay, because I've never done this. So, allowing yourself to do that. Some of these things that we need to create business aren't things that we're going to get in classroom or we're going to get from education. You're going to get these things from life experience and really going within yourself, because when you're your own boss, I mean, you can't fire yourself. So you got to figure out how you're going to work with you. And so I think that that's really what it is. It's just, really being honest, researching, and never stop learning. Never stop learning. I believe that we are ever growing. And nothing that is living truly stops growing. And if we give ourselves that, I think that can kind of help us. But knowing what you want to do, being able to tell yourself what that is, because if you're honest with yourself, you'll be honest with other folks. And then that grace. And I think, and of course, and these are general things that can be applied to any profession. So this isn't just about being this health entrepreneur and starting a private practice to create a healing space. These are things that you can take with you in any profession, and they're transferable to your everyday, to
Right.
how you can live your life amongst your family and friends.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, what do you guys do for fun? That's what I want to know. Lola, tell me, what do you do for fun? I know you're running your business, and that's great, right? But sometimes you got to have that. You got to have that healthy balance, right?
Hmm. Yeah, I like to call it a work-love balance. So what
I
do I
love it.
what do I do that I love? So I love to travel. I'm actually leaving Monday. I'll be gone for a little over a week. Um, I love to read, like you said, forever learning. So just getting into books that are not necessarily for me entertainment, but more of books that are um, can not only help me from a professional level, but a personal level. So I don't read, all my books aren't about mental health, right? So I read books like I said, The Alchemist, right? I read, of course, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, Outwitting the Devil. So, but I'm able to take what I've learned from that book and apply it to both personal and professional. And I love to shop. So like that's my therapy. It has my closet so full. I swear I just buy stuff and I know I don't need it. But every time it's time to go somewhere, I don't have nothing to wear. So I go online and it makes me feel good. But out of all those things, what I enjoy the most is definitely traveling, because that's like the best way to learn. And it
Yeah.
just gives you a different perspective of life, being around different cultures and things of that nature.
Awesome. Miss Tonika Do Evans, what do you do for
I think he
I'm
just likes
sorry,
saying
I'm just
all
I
your
think he likes just calling the whole name. I think he likes it. Um, reading and writing. I'm a poet, and so reading and writing, um, spending time with family and friends. I gave myself, I could afford vacation. With this entrepreneur could afford real vacation this year in the midst of the pandemic. So I was masked up and took a great trip early June with friends that I've known for over 20 plus years to Sedona, and it was awesome. And so being able to go different places is always a plus. And then I've taken up a little exercising. Walking is so great for me, and yoga. So really incorporating those things back into my self-care, not playing, but my calendar, being really intentional about those things. But and then and I'll try some things more once, so it could be some other things on the list next time.
All right.
Uh-oh.
I heard some people earlier they talking about they were trying this skydiving stuff.
That's right.
I don't
That's
know.
right.
Oh, well, that was not on my list.
Come on.
I've done
People,
skydiving.
people.
I did skydiving. It was
Yes.
See,
Welcome to the
that
club.
plane was working just
Yes.
fine.
Listen, I'll be on the ground saying, "Great job, great job."
that's how my friend was, but I actually did it. If you're gonna do anything, do it scared, but
That's
do it.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
it.
it.
Yeah,
It was, yes.
That's not
Awesome.
something I want to build my wings on the way down.
Don't knock it until you try it, Cedric. It is amazing. Awesome. So, you guys, as we're talking about, and I want to touch on a serious subject of this mental health, because I know you guys are in the helping field, and it's such a serious topic, and a lot of times it's often not discussed and not talked about. And so, in the realm of entrepreneurship, now that you guys you're in a profession, but now you are entrepreneurs as well. Can you talk about the importance of self-care and mental health as a business owner and entrepreneur?
Okay, well, I'll say
yeah.
it's important. Like we just talked about the work-love balance. So, because if we constantly, because we can definitely get lost in this, right? Because it's so much to learn. I'm gonna be honest with you today. Like I said, I'm switching from that worker to that,
Owner mindset.
yes.
Hmm.
And when you're so accustomed, like you don't have other things to worry about, you would go get your nails done, go get your hair done, go do these things. Like it was nothing to do. But now it's like it's always something to do. So you have to really balance in. So I tell myself, like, Sunday is my son's day, like
Mm.
it's Sunday, son, it's your day. I only have one child, thank God, because Lord. But it is his day, and Saturday I use that to, get hair done, get nails done, things that to make me, and it's not have anything to do with work, but to actually just separate myself and take that disconnect. Because if not, you will get drowned.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely important for your sanity. Because like I said, if we don't take the time out to actually, me time, and again, that's why I'm going on vacation. I'm going on vacation. Like it's my holiday, it's my birthday. So every year I go somewhere and I'm gone for a week and it's just me. Because if not, you'll just work until you blue, and then I don't ever want to look back in life and say life worked me. I want to look back and say, you know what? I enjoyed this thing called life. So that's the only way to do it. If all you did was work, 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 and you never enjoyed the fruits of your labor, what are we working for?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree with you.
Good point.
Yeah.
So we have a few minutes left here, and I want to just do a quick round of would you rather. Okay.
Okay.
So we're Tanika, you'll go first, and then Lola. So would you rather be best friends with your forever? I mean, be best friends forever with your favorite celebrity, or date your celebrity crush for only 2 years?
Mm.
I'm thinking, who's my favorite celebrity? But I go with best friend.
Okay. All right, Lola, that's the same for you.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Would you rather meet your great grandparents or your great grandchildren?
Hmm.
Um, I was fortunate to know all of my great grandparents with the exception of two. So my answer would be my great grandchildren.
I agree.
All right. Would you rather pick the year that you die or the way that you die?
Oh, I'd rather pick the next question. No, I don't. Ooh, I would have to go with, I guess, way, because I don't want to know when. I just don't want to. I don't want to put an end on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
'Cause I
right.
want to see those great grandchildren. So I don't want. I don't know when they're coming.
Okay. All right. Lola, would you rather have free Apple products forever or free Wi-Fi wherever you go?
Because I travel a lot, I'm gonna go with that Wi-Fi.
With the Wi-Fi. All right. So this one's for both of you guys. Lola, you go first. This is the last one. Would you rather have $1 million in Amazon gift cards or $100,000 in real money?
100,000 in real money.
Yeah. Unless I can cash in those gift cards, but I go with this real money.
Lola, as much
Give me
as
the.
you say you like this shop, I thought you was going with the Amazon.
No, because I can take that 100,000 of real money and invest it in something else that can bring me more than $1 million.
Look at
Absolutely.
it. Look
See,
at
y'all
it.
don't know how to.
Absolutely.
I'm about to show you. Y'all need to come to my session on Saturday. I'm gonna show you how to flip those gift cards into real cash.
Oh.
Yeah,
But
I
that's
didn't
what I
know
said. If it's a way to do it, I'll take the million gift
that.
cards.
Yeah, I didn't know
Otherwise,
I love it. I love it. So as this has been a wonderful, amazing conversation. You guys are amazing. Just your stories alone, just very inspirational. I know for not only for myself, just listening to you all in your journey, for those that are listening, that are out there. So let's end with this last question. If there was a book that was written about you, what would the title be, and what would the book be about?
um, I don't know. Lola, you ready?
Yeah, because I was gonna write a book anyway. So,
Okay. All right. Listen, go ahead. I'm ready.
so I just look like this, but the title of my book would definitely be "Mug Shots to Mindset."
Hmm.
Okay.
And the reason why is because we all have stories, right? And it's our ugly truth, but it's our truth. And once we understand self love and understanding the things that we had to get through to put us in a position where we can. So, yes, it may have looked ugly. It might have been a mugshot, but now you actually have the mindset to embrace those mugshots and learn the lesson. And because of him, you are here with a different mindset.
I love it.
Hmm.
I love it.
Excellent.
I love it. I
Yeah,
love
I
it.
love it. I love it. Um, uh, I would think mine would be good morning, and it would be titled "Good Morning." It would be the story of a woman who welcomed each new day with the opportunity to explore and discover new ways of living, believing that growing and evolving is continual, and that new opportunities are available in each encounter. Yeah.
Awesome.
Good
Good
morning.
morning. Good morning. I love it. I love it. Guys, thank you so much. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for your time coming and sharing a part of you, being vulnerable, open, and telling everybody your story and sharing your inspiration. It has been a pleasure to have you on the show. So thank you guys for coming.
Thank you for
And
having us.
for those that want to see some more of them, all our young people, you guys need to be at the summit on this weekend. They are both are going to be speaking, and it's going to be amazing. So, guys, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cedric, let's take it home.
Well, we have 10 seconds left, Nicole.
You-
So I'm going to tell you good night, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
All right. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.